All right, Sean, in this video, we're going to talk about the complete guide. This is our encyclopedia of how to hit the golf ball long and straight. All right, Sean, so just like a book, we're going to start from the beginning. So what needs to happen first to hit the ball long and straight?
Well, the only thing that connects us to this golf club is our grip, so we have to have a functional grip.
A functional grip. There's a lot of variations with the grip, but they need to be functional.
Yeah, and there's some commonalities you see with good grips, just like everything else, right? So one of them is the club needs to be in the fingers or in the base of the fingers instead of the palm.
That's right.
Especially in the left hand.
It's a big deal for hitting drives.
Yeah, and we always talk about picking up the suitcase, or like you see Ricky Fowler and Adam Scott gripping the club back here like this, put it beside their foot, put the arm back, because that gets...
Or a lot of players will hold it out here in front of them and grip it this way.
Anything you can do to keep you gripping it from when it's in front of you like this, because the way your arm is oriented, it's kind of difficult to twist your hand the right way.
And we don't want a putter grip for a driver.
Yeah, and that's what you essentially are doing when you grip it too much along the fingers.
You put it in the lifeline.
Yeah, so get it down on the base of the finger so it's kind of 90 degrees to your fingers this way. Then put the right hand down on the bottom two the middle joints of your ring and index or ring and middle finger. Lock it on the grip there. Cover the thumb up with the right hand. The last little checkpoint, and point the V's somewhere near your right shoulder.
That's right. So, and by V's, we're talking about index finger and thumb, this kind of crease right here, pointing over here to the right shoulder.
If there was a line going up there, you wouldn't want those lines pointed to your left ear or left shoulder. Try to get them a little more to your right. We feel like that gives a golfer best chance to kind of square the face.
Let's do that down the line, because I want to talk about the forearms when you just did that.
Yeah, so
we don't want the forearm, that right forearm really dominant, which is what we see a lot of times.
Happens a lot.
Yes, and which gets the shoulders too open. Everything is biased really for an over-the-top move.
Yeah, so right hand under a little, get that forearm softened up, and that helps when you start to move the club away.
Okay, so holding the club, vitally important. We all got to do it, so we might as well do it well. Next, let's talk about posture, setup, those type of things as we're building up to the movement.
Let's start from face on.
Okay.
So I've got the ball teed up here. If you
what do we see quite often that really hinders golfers?
Two major issues. One is for more slicers and kind of steep players, they have their body tilted this way too much. They call it the spine, right?
Right.
And then other times you see maybe better players over the years have been taught this reverse K to try to hit from the inside, and they get into this exaggerated spine the other way.
See, a lot of players actually have experience in both. Like a lot of beginner golfers will start kind of this way, and they hit slices, so they find ways to start the ball farther and farther left. And as you get more accomplished in the game, you learn more about the game. We see golfers, all right, so the fix for that is neutral, and then we start tilting past neutral, and then we basically go the other side of the spectrum.
Absolutely right. We're not really a fan of either one of those.
Right.
Just with gears and seeing good players in 3D, most of the setups are very neutral with the spine. With the driver, because the stance is wider and the ball is forward, when I put my right hand on the club, I'm gonna have a little more shoulder angle, but I don't wanna excessively tilt the spine. You might get a couple degrees to the right, but you don't wanna tilt the whole spine to the right.
On the video camera, their spine should look pretty neutral. And again, I can tilt my shoulders with a neutral spine. I don't have to tilt my spine to lower my right shoulder.
I think that's where people miss the boat. They start tilting the whole body when in reality, if I just put my right hand lower than my left, that gives me enough shoulder.
That's exactly right.
So that's the face on,
right?
I will add one more thing. When the ball gets forward, we want to play it up somewhere near the left instep. The tendency for a lot of players when they put the ball forward is to do it like this.
Well, yeah, they start, like if there's a camera coming out of our chest, they'll start to point the camera to the ball, right? Because with an iron, it's back here somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, they're used to that.
And then the ball's up here, and now everything points facing the ball.
Yeah.
You want to be able to keep this back here and just move the club up. You're going to have a little lean away with the shaft, and it's going to not open the club face and get it prepared to close.
Mike just did something really good there. He put his pointer out like this, moved the club over there, and then grip it.
Right.
That's a great way to make sure you're not moving the whole body to get the club in.
In fact, it's a really cool hack if you want to get the ball to turn over more and draw more, is to really feel like this club head is forward and closed a little bit. Well, it'll naturally close because it's on an arc, and keep this chest back or even almost turned away slightly. It's going to really help you get that sensation down through the ball of the club face squaring up.
Be careful not to get it too far forward. If it gets, I see some guys now when they're trying to launch, hit the ball really high, they get it outside their foot, and that makes it almost impossible to hit from the inside if that's what you're trying to do, because the club will turn the corner.
That's exactly right.
It'll start going the other way around the corner.
Okay.
So that gives us kind of our face on kind of windows we're trying to get in for the setup. As far as the down the line posture, obviously you want to be athletic, the name of the channel, right? A little bit of knee flex, bend forward from the hips, let your arms hang. And with a driver, the arms will be a little bit out, not perfectly straight down. Normally I see a little bit out to accommodate kind of a more roundish path.
That's exactly
Nothing
right. We want to do that again. We want the arms and the butt of the club hanging somewhere at or just in front of the shoulders right here.
And
we don't want them, in is a bad deal. It's going to really screw up what we're going to talk about next, the takeaway and backswing.
Would you say the iron's a little more straight down?
The irons are more straight down, driver a little bit farther out than that.
Absolutely.
Because it's a longer shaft, it needs to be a little flatter.
And a couple of pitfalls or problems, too much knee flex.
Yep.
Because they've been told to bend their knees, or too much rear end back.
Bent over too far. Right,
and they're pushing their back, their rear end behind their heels too much, which causes some plane and pivot issues right away.
Either one of those, you're not going to stay in.
That's right.
You're going to come out of it, and then now the swing gets to be a series of compensations at higher speeds than any other club, and it doesn't work out well.
So that gives us the setup and the grip.
That's right. All right, Sean, let's look at now we've got the setup, we've got the posture. We're ready to move correctly now. Let's talk about some things that we see, some things that we want to do and maybe not do.
Yeah, so on the backswing, for this part of the video, I'm going to use this training aid. You can get them anywhere online. This one happens to be from Skills. We like using training aids because it gives us feedback.
That's right.
And when you're practicing, if you don't have any feedback, basically all you're doing is exercising.
And it's in the 30s outside. Normally we'd use an alignment stick.
Yeah, it's cold.
Indoors, we can't stick it in the ground, so we use this.
And a lot of you guys are in winter right now. You need to do something like this in your garage, right? Or a place where you have your practice station set up. So what you can do with this is set it basically at the angle of the driver. Just looking for something to pay attention to give you
some feedback,
some reference for playing, right? And as you swing back, go ahead and stand in a place where when you get your arm basically under you and the shaft in line with your hands, that you got maybe 4 inches of clearance.
That's right.
Right? That gives you a good reference point as you swing back to kind of stay on that relative angle. Now, it's going to elevate some once your elbow folds, but you can see it still basically matches.
That's right. It matches that angle. It's just elevated.
It's higher because the elbow folded,
That's exactly right?
If I kept going, it would be in line with your hands. Most of you don't even need to take the club back that far, especially when you're practicing motion. So backswing, try to keep that distance on the takeaway, and then same at the top. I think the pitfalls we see when people are playing golf is they try to make a one-piece takeaway. When they do that, they keep the arms pinned and don't move them, and they just turn their body, and that gets them immediately off playing.
Yeah, if you engage all that rotation early and have this like connected or overly connected motion, the club's going to get sucked in early. Then the body rotation is going to run out early, and then you're left to finish the down or backswing with an arm lift.
Yeah, with a lift. So it looks something like this. You use all of your in early, right? We talk about there's an inward and an upward element to the backswing.
It's a combination of Ferris wheel and merry-go-round.
Yeah, if you use up all your in early, now it's a lift and an over, which you see every day.
That's the golf swing, right? Opposites. You go in, up late, you're going to go out, round on the downswing, and it's not the combination we want.
Right, so we want a blend and a gradual blend. We want some club head swing and arm swing. We want a little bit of body rotation. So by the time I get here, I've used up some of my rotation, but I've still got some left in the tank. I can add some arm lift and some turn, so everything kind of rises at the top around the same time, right? So things match up. That gives you your best chance to start making a good downswing.
And one of the most common questions we get about the takeaway and backswing is, okay, what muscles do I need to think about activating? If you're thinking that direction, right? If you're thinking muscle activation and all that, it's going to be very difficult to do. So instead, because you're going to be thinking about it and the club's moving. The club's not waiting on your thoughts. And you can't think as fast as you can move. So instead, I would rather see Sean get right here. And let's say, Sean, take it back to shaft parallel with your eyes closed. Now, look at it, see if you like that, and just keep doing that slow. You need to really tune in to what the body's doing without having to think about every incremental step to it. Now, if he does this with his eyes closed and he's banging into this, or he's got it poached way out here, then you can start to say, you can open the eyes and start to say, all right, this is what my body needs to do to make this happen. And then if you do it slow enough, you'll start to tune in to the motions that are happening and the feels that are happening. But I would rather people not think about, okay, fire this muscle, contract this muscle. It's a very slow way to move the club.
And not very athletic.
It's not very athletic. So, and then it's a matter of just continuing that on plane. The club will rise up some because the way the arms move. And then what's a great checkpoint for us at the top?
So at the top, you know, this helps cover the plane of the club. There's one more element that we need to get.
The CEO.
The CEO is the club face. So once it's at the top, basically you want to make a fist with your left hand, you know, if you have a neutralish grip, which we like, and have the face basically matching the left forearm.
Right.
We don't want it drastically open where the face would be on this side of the shaft, and we want it super shut where it would point toward the sky.
So let's remove the club from that and show them the fist. So that's a pretty neutral
as good as it
fist,
gets
right?
there.
You don't have to arch it. You certainly don't want it cupped a
You
ton.
wouldn't punch anybody like this.
No.
It's a kind of a strong position, right?
Right, it's exactly right. Now if I just set the club in his hand, we want that club face to match that
There you
angle.
go. And
Right,
you'll
all
feel-
of this here matched up there.
And you'll feel your thumb kind of supporting underneath.
Yes.
It gives you a really good chance, once you get there, to start making a good downswing. It doesn't guarantee it, but it gives you a really good chance to be organized here to make the first move down, which is the transition.
Right, and there's a common phrase out there that we don't hit the ball in the backswing, which is 100% true, hopefully.
Yeah.
Nobody hits in the backswing, but if you dismiss the backswing, you're doing it at your own peril for the downswing. So we can organize this backswing where the downswing is much more reactionary, much more athletic, much more dynamic. If we have to undo things that we do in the backswing, you're not going to be happy on the downswing. So yeah, we don't hit the ball in the backswing, but man, that backswing is important.
So this covers setup backswing. Next video, we're going to talk about
Transition. Downswing. All right, now the fun part.
Yeah.
Now's where we get to show off all of those good setups and backswings to really take advantage of and pop these balls a long ways down the fairway. So let's get ourselves up to the top.
Okay. So good setup, good grip, top of the backswing on plane, arm structure where I want it.
All right, there's really two very common things that we see from most golfers at this plane. It's the idea that they want to kind of be really passive with the arms, keep the arms up here, and really start to unwind. That's what that's going to produce.
If you did nothing else, in reality, if you just kept your arms there and turned,
That's right.
your handle would pop out towards the target line.
The arms are going to ride the chest as it turns around. It's going to pitch all of this stuff back. You can try to do some really awkward stuff with the club
Most of the time, it's not going to magically lay back.
It's
And
not
if
gonna
it
do
did,
that.
you're still not really not in the
because your
hit of
hands are over the ball now, and it's
Exactly
not good.
right.
So what do we want to do instead?
So I think from the top, you know, a good feeling for most players, instead of putting their hands over the ball, is to kind of get some speed in the club head,
Right.
right? And we don't want to throw it and cast it, but if I think swing the arms and kind of swing the club head down toward the ball, the club is going to plane a lot better. And you can rotate your body at the same time without pitching the club out.
We want the rotation to ramp up throughout the downswing. If you fire it early and the club gets super out of position, you've got to stall the rotation and then try to find a way to kind of flip the club at the ball. We want the
Absolutely.
opposite of that.
And most, you know, men players are stronger in their upper body, and that's a powerful feeling, almost like a sledgehammer. But it puts the clubs in such a bad position. You know, I've seen David Tom say this a lot of times in clinics. I work here at the Golf Academy for David, and he's always talking about how higher handicappers put the hands on the ball, good players swing the club head to the ball.
That's right.
And that's such a great thought for most people.
And to drive that point home further, we have gears, the 3D gears. You guys are seeing our videos, you're aware of that system. We've actually have two golfers, one amateur golfer that at impact has a 98 mile an hour club head speed, and one of our professionals had 116 miles an hour club head speed, and they moved the hands the exact same speed.
Yeah. So basically that tells me one of them's doing this,
Yes.
and the other one's delivering that speed
Is getting
properly.
that speed out to the club head where it really matters for distance.
Absolutely.
So no holding of the arms. The arms cannot be passive. They can't just ride along. Now different players will describe the feel differently,
100% correct.
right? But the arms have got to be moving down. And I think one of the issues with that is we're all told that, okay, the downswing starts lower body, you know, the sequence. But here's the big but for that. That sequence starts about middle backswing,
That's right.
right?
So if I start back, this is where my
That's when your downswing sequence pretty much starts.
I start to recenter my body. As I'm still rotating backwards, I'm recentering already.
Right.
I'm moving pressure, max pressure from the right, starting to move it back towards the middle as this club goes up over my head.
That's right. So then it is a much simpler downswing. Now, we see most golfers, because they've taken that to heart, they'll go everything to the top. Now they're going to try to fire the hips, rotate all that, and then again, less than a quarter of a second, it ain't going to happen.
See it every day.
Every day. So think about sequence, and it happens like that, but it has to start in the backswing, right?
Yes.
By recentering, shifting the pressure, shifting the mass forward, makes the downswing seem like you have more time in it because you're actually having less to do. Now let's talk about kind of, so we get the arms coming down good, we got the rotation kicked in good.
We got the
let's
pressure
talk about
left.
kind of this, yeah, pressure's left. Let's talk about this kind of delivery phase.
So I've
now.
got it planed, right?
Yep.
I've got the hands somewhere near the right thigh or waist high kind of delivery. Body starting to open. Club is online or inside the hand.
Yes.
You can still mess this up.
You can.
Okay?
You can.
And we call it over the bottom, right?
Right. There's over the top.
There's
this
over
is
the
over
top.
the bottom.
This would be planing, and now you're flipping the club up over your hands and tipping the shaft out, is what we would say.
And what's the number one cause of that?
It's trying to hold angles.
So it's another hold.
It's another hold. So if I was to hold this angle and just turn at the bottom or just try to drag, kind of pull lag through with the body
Right.
without any release, which some people are trying to
Yes.
do, it would normally get this club flipping out and tipping out and hitting over the bottom, which heel balls, slices, steep impacts.
Just gave me a great idea. We were at dinner last night watching some football games. We should have a holding flag in here.
Yeah.
You see a player hold a flag in a lesson, toss
Throw
the
the
yellow
flag.
flag. Because holding, it's more costly in a golf swing than it is on the football field. And you can hold it up top, try to hold that left arm up there, or you can certainly try to hold lag, and it's not what good golf swings do.
Yeah, and you know, I think a lot about, you know, if this was an axe, you know, think about.
Maybe the tree?
Yeah, you're the tree. So if I turned it like an axe head and I wanted to hit Mike, I wouldn't continue to drag the
Right.
handle. I would pull till about right here, chest height, and then I would start to unload this axe.
That first version is how you move these hands at about 22 miles an hour and that club at 98.
Mm-hmm.
The second version is how these hands move at 22 and that club at about 116.
So that last part where I deliver it, that's you're
Yes.
picking up some speed.
That's exactly right. And if you do a grip that's very good, again, there's no skill involved in a good grip, so no excuse for that. If you set up, no skill involved in the setup, you just do it. And you make the backswing movements to get on plane, so the downswing becomes a reaction rather than a compensation.
Mm-hmm.
And you get down here into delivery, and you're not trying to hold these angles,
Freewheel it.
you absolutely will hit the ball farther than you are right now, and probably is farther than you thought you could.
Yeah, and you know that last part of the swing where you kind of let these angles out, you're going to get an added bonus. You're going to square up the club face.
That's exactly
A
right.
lot of you hitting like these glancing
So
slices.
not only faster speed, now we're talking about straighter balls. And who doesn't want longer and straighter shots? So that's really the A to Z from grip to impact of how to hit your golf ball farther than you are now and straighter. If you like more distance instantly, we put together a video just for that. All you need to do to get that video is click on the link below, and the first pinned comment will ask for your name, your email, and we'll send it out to you immediately.
If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Once you do that, click on notifications so you know when we have a brand new video coming out right away.
Right, we want to make this channel's content just for you guys, just for your golf game. So leave us some comments down below if you'd like to see something that we haven't already covered or want to see it covered in a different way. We'll do our best to get that for you as soon as we can. And don't forget, if you want to hit the ball farther, click the link below in the first pinned comment.
Get you some instant distance.
Instant.